Welcome to Curious Sports Pulse. My name is Gabriel, and we are seeing the first returns. I don't know, do we say first returns? We saw the results yesterday of the WNBA All Star voting, and I think we've seen a lot. So there was, and there is, a sense of this largely being, and a lot of focus, understandably, being on the top two rookies. And before Cameron Brink went down, obviously the top three rookies. Everyone acknowledges that. And shout out to what Rakia Jackson is doing on the Los Angeles Sparks still. But either way, with Cameron Brink, without Cameron Brink, I think everyone's acknowledging Camila Cardoso being injured, coming in late. I think everyone's acknowledging that this always was a two-person race in terms of rookie of the year, and really, if we're being real, a two-person quote race, right? It's not really a competition between them, but some people are making it really weird. Some people are making it something that it isn't. In terms of attention, credit for league development, and let's get this out of the way first and foremost. The WNBA has been on the rise for quite a while. So is Caitlin Clark undoubtedly helping? Of course, and everything that Angel Reese is doing. We all saw that press conference after the Chicago Sky win, where she goes out. I forget who it might have been, Chennedy Carter and Hambry, where they stayed behind to answer a question or two more. Where Angel Reese exits the room. She opens the door, and there's just a flood of fans screaming for her because they got a chance to see her. So we've all seen this, and then of course we all saw how Angel Reese's comments were, where they cut out the part where she gives everyone credit. So we've all seen oddities, and then people are taking this Caitlin Clark Angel Reese story to really odd places. But let's not focus on that. Regardless, this has been a fun WNBA season to watch, and I've said this multiple times. This is a WNBA season where I've enjoyed the product of the WNBA much more than the NBA itself, and especially the playoffs, And that's not necessarily. It's not meant to be an apples to apples comparison because a lot of it had to do with injuries, but people are tuning in. People are engaged, even if they don't watch the games. Right, they're a little bit late if you're here on the East Coast, but people are engaged. People are watching, and people are generally more aware, at least, that there are games going on. So I think, and a lot, again, we don't want to make too much out of this, but a lot is happening. A lot is coming into play, and a lot of dominoes are starting to fall. So there has always been a good amount of star power, but for sure, being in the social media age, for sure, having the country since their basketball days follow the story of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and then for sure Caitlin Clark breaking records, everything that that happened with LSU, their late especially. They provided a fantastic boost at just the right time when everything was trending in the right direction. So I say all that to say this is fantastic for the WNBA, for the league, and for its continued development. Continued development. Oh my goodness! Try talking this morning. So I'm just excited because we're tuning in. I am, at least. We're tuning in to a league where you will see them play each other. The same teams play each other 3 times in the span of like a week and a half. And that's not too, and that's just because of how many teams are limited. The amount of teams, the limitation of the amount of teams at the moment. Goodness, we are struggling this morning, but it's okay. And that's fine. That's fine. We want to shout out Java Joe. He has multiple occasions said that he can't wait for expansion, that he wants to see more teams playing. Fair enough. I think it's obviously needed. It would open up more roster spots, more opportunities, and would be an overall better product. I will say, Joe. Oh, all right. I will say, Joe, if you're listening at this particular moment. Oh wait, I think you. Where? Oh, Joe, every day, Joe. Okay, let's get this trending. 16 by 2025. Joe, this is gonna be a bit now. Heads up. I will say there is a positive that I like. What's it on my hat? Oh, it's just the light. Anyway, there is a positive that I do like of the current format, and it is that we get to see some of these fun matchups multiple times. So while we're waiting for 16 by 2025, I am going to somewhat enjoy this, almost like a round robin style of play. So, right, there's a positive here. But anyway, let us look for a moment. Oh, whoops. Yeah, typing words. It's all good, Joe. It's all good. Oh my God, that might be a little excessive. So here we are. All right, so 16 by 20. Well, we already had 60 by 20 or 25 trending, but that's okay. We can get this one trending too. 16 by 20, 30. This shows, and again, I don't want to get in the conversation of who deserves the most credit or who deserves credit, whatever. That's such a non-issue to me. I don't, whatever. This shows, and who's this tweet from? Mr. Robert Little, BSO. Okay. Bless me. Bless me. All right. So here we go. Oh, there we go, Joe. Ella Del Don. El Del Don, no. Elena Del Don? I always remember. Oh, I probably in my head had her as El Del, but Elena Del Don. Either way, shout out to this Chicago Sky draft pick confirmed by Joe. Either way, just look at the jump. Look at right, same person. What is that? 3. That's roughly 6 to 7 times as many votes. Same person, same number 1 vote getter. Here we are. Breanna Stewart, 32K. That's roughly 5x the amount. So, and this isn't the end all be all, but this does show engagement and interest. You say, well, all you have to do is click on the thing to vote, but every year that's all you have to do, and there's so many options out there that it's not nothing. It is somewhat significant if someone takes that time and doesn't just continue to scroll past it, or did someone even actively search for this to vote, right? That's possible as well. And so even if this jump here, even if this is due to the same person voting 150,000 times, the fact that someone was either willing to create a bot program and or refresh the page 150,000 times, and I'll grant you, I have no idea if they did limit it so that you could only vote once. I don't think the integrity of this ballot box necessarily warrants any type of restriction. But hey, if they did, great. If not, I'm not too worried about it. But either way, the one thing that this shows is 100% more interest. Now, I do want to say the snub 100% goes to Chennedy Carter. And hear me out on this one. Chennedy Carter is on a team that does have a lot of pressure day in and day out. Chennedy Carter, though, has been not just really fun, not just a great entertainment product, great product in terms of what she brings on the court, but she has most importantly been so consistent, which has been particularly important for a Chicago Sky team that drafted where they did last year and was able to then get Angel Reese, right? Right. So Chicago Sky last year, not down there with the Washington Mystic, where we're saying where we hope they find a magic spell so that they can start putting together a winning quarter, let alone a winning game. Let's not even go crazy there. But either way, oh my God, sniffles this morning. Either way, I think Chennedy Carter deserved it. I do. And she has been, full disclosure, in terms of my viewing habits personally, I've watched the most Chicago Sky games. I've watched then the most Seattle Storm games, then the most Indiana Fever games, and then the most New York Liberty games. I've watched more Las Vegas Aces games than New York Liberty games. All right, so, but either way, you get the point. And then when Cameron Brink was playing, I did watch a lot of Sparks games. But either way, so that should give you a kind of general idea of my personal viewing habits. And so that being said, I don't want to. I hate the argument all the time of saying someone was snubbed. And then you just don't say who you would take off, because that is obviously, that must be part of the conversation if you say someone was snubbed. It just has to be. There are only so many selections for a reason. There are only so many spots for a reason, and you're not always going to make everyone happy, and that's fine. We'll live. So I don't think. Just based on overall impact to play, I would have had Chennedy Carter over Leah Boston. Now, I will say Indiana Fever playing better as of late compared to that. And by late, I mean roughly from about a week and a half ago. Though must be said 6-4 in their last 10. So, right, they did have a decent, good stretch, though. But that being said, one moment. Oh my God. All right, we're alive. We're good. That being said, I think I would have had, me personally, I would have had Chennedy Carter over both Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. Both teams nearly identical records. But let's be real. Now, they changed their offense, and now they're playing through Aaliyah Boston more. But Aaliyah Boston, really rough first part of the year. And then Kelsey Mitchell, averaging the most points on this team. Fine. But also a little inconsistent for me. And I really do think, for me, it's all about the consistency. Chennedy Carter has been more consistent for me. And it's clear in terms of how they play. And if we're going to add that little pizzazz factor in terms of this is what she's doing, her spectaculars, I think that needs to, I 100% would give it there. But if we don't want to have that part of the equation, fine. But Chennedy Carter, what she's doing within this offense, at times being the offense when necessary, it's all, I would have her over Kelsey Mitchell personally. For sure, I would over Aaliyah Boston. For sure, I would. And then anyone else who I would say I would have necessarily over. And that's where that for me is where it gets hard, because I do like the rest of these names. I could make an argument, maybe. Looking at it right. Oh, I'm not sharing it. Where are we? Right here.
I can make an argument maybe. Yeah, it's too tough. Like, I mean, we're not taking, obviously we're not taking the MVP Asia Wilson off. We're not taking Jackie Young off. She's been spectacular. Yeah, we're not. I think some people might argue Tarasi. Tarasi, I'm okay with. We can leave for them. Now, granted, the Phoenix Mercury a little bit sloppy Joe, but they are 9-10, winners of 5 out of the last 5, and they've been playing well for large stretches. Their issue is just not being on the same page in critical parts of games and dropping some decently winnable games. And on the road. So Phoenix Mercury, Tarasi, Griner being on there, even if you don't, I mean, Tarasi's still playing well. She is the leader of this team. If we're getting the edge to her, or if she made it because it's close between her and others, and it's a little bit of a legacy pick, I'm 100% fine with that. She deserves that. I'm literally trying to find any other name who I would say I can't find another name where I would say 100% Chennedy Carter over her. Maybe what we could say, you could talk me into Kalia Cooper. I would be willing to listen to the Chennedy Carter over Kalia Cooper. But she has been getting buckets. Kalia Cooper has. So that one's actually a little closer, but I could hear, and I think that's 100% an argument. So that for sure. So to be clear, if Chennedy Carter had made it over Kalia Cooper, I would have been okay with that 100%. I think it's a debate. But I'm totally fine if Kalia Cooper gets the edge. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter because, case in point, Chennedy Carter is having a little bit of an MJ moment. I took that personally. Drops 26 off of 80% or off of 68% shooting from the field. The next moment when that announcement was made. So good for Chennedy. This Chicago Sky team, I almost said fire, shout out MLS. This Chicago Sky team is fun. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch, and they're going to continue to get better. So, one last thing before we get out of here, let's recap that Las Vegas Aces, IndianaFever game. This was a game I was really looking forward to, and how do you know that? As soon as we got off of one podcast, we hopped right on over to this game for the live stream here. So we caught most of the game. And here's what I'll say. It was disappointing in terms of how the overall game ended up flowing. In terms of what we saw was close late. And only disappointing in the fact that it did have that NBA regular season feel of, all right, well, this game's done. But credit to the IndianaFever. What we didn't get and what the NBA is 100% guilty of was where they just mail it in then. So they fought to the end. Ultimately, and there was still being obviously great plays being made. I would say it was only disappointing because we've been very vocal in terms of basketball wise what the IndianaFever have been doing and needed to improve. And for a little bit, it seemed like they were getting things together. Then also it seemed like they were slipping back into their old ways. And so this was going to be, for me, a good decent test of, all right, so IndianaFever, they're either on the right track or they aren't. And let's be clear, too, about the Las Vegas Aces. They have not been playing well. They, too, have been disconnected, particularly on the offensive end. A couple of mental lapses on defense. So I thought this was a good game for both to serve as kind of, all right, so where are we moment in their respective seasons. And obviously, the Las Vegas Aces passed. I mean, the game was over pretty decently early on, and that's fine. That's more than fine. So here we are now. Caitlin Clark had 13, 6, and 11. Not a bad night. Not a bad night at all. Most people would 100% take that. So am I being a little bit unfair here in terms of my criticism? I didn't love the body language necessarily. Also, let's keep this real. Largely an efficient night, coming off of back-to-backs, really efficient nights, not just two-night, but against the Phoenix Mercury. Caitlin Clark, 4 of 12, 1 of 7 from 3. Now, that's going to happen as a shooter and as a perimeter player, where you're just going to have off nights like that. And the debate, we'll close on this. The debate, Las Vegas Aces look good if they can continue to build on that. They showed why a lot of people just are penciling them in as the champion. I'm not willing to go that far yet. Currently, I really do like the Seattle Storm. But anyway, and right, most of the league gets into the postseason anyway, so it's just about getting hot. So this is far from a foregone conclusion, but Asia Wilson will make sure that her team is in it to win it. But either way, Las Vegas Aces, if they can build off of that, good. They're on the right track. We're all good. We're all good there. And now, in terms of Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark, just sticking with basketball, who's better at this moment or who deserves to be Rookie of the Year? For a moment, so I started the year saying Angel Reese just after watching the first couple games. I stuck with that. And then I said, there was about a week stretch where I said, okay, Caitlin Clark has stepped up her game. So then I gave the edge to Caitlin Clark. Again, I've been saying this whole time, though, that it's close. Just who I personally would give the edge to, Angel Reese. And mainly, she does have an advantage by being a front court player. Because as we saw last night against the Aces and as we saw against the Mercury, the guard position is particularly if you're a 3-point shooter, a cold night, a cold spell can look really, really bad. Where Angel Reese, a lot of it is what she's doing down low and through her hustle. So as long as you're in position, you can miss a rebound, but it's a little harder to miss a rebound than a jump shot from 40 feet out. So, a little bit of it's an apples to oranges comparison in terms of who's better right now. It just flatly is. But in terms of overall impact for her team, how they're playing, at times Caitlin Clark has been as spectacular as she is. We need to give we don't want this misconstrued as Caitlin Clark's slander. I will say, as spectacular as she is, there are times where she shoots herself, her team, and the overall rhythm of everyone else, where she shoots them out of the game. Particularly with her shot selection, I'm glad that they're taking the ball off her hands and that she's at picking moments to be playing more as more of a 2 guard. Really love that. I think that's only going to help. But anyway, just look at how the teams interact with their respective players, the overall flow, and who you feel better about at the moment. And I broke up my train of thought there. So, right, I was on record at the time of saying Angel Reese. Then there was about a week stretch where I said Caitlin Clark. she went up a level, and now, in my opinion, Angel Reese, she then re-upped. She went up another level in her game. Just really impressive stuff. Not just what she's doing with her footwork, but also she found a way to not only have her. It does seem like she found another energy reserve in terms of effort, but she's doing a fantastic job with positioning and finding pockets to take advantage of. So not only does it seem like she found an extra half spring in her step, but she's more familiar with the WNBA game now, and she's using her size, her advantage must be said. In terms of height, she doesn't have necessary advantage or size, above average, but right, for anyone saying, well, it's because of how tall she is, well, she's going against other tall players who are also right, who are a little more built out at this point. So this is a front court battle. Like, of course she's tall, so you can't discredit her getting rebounds because she's tall. That's a total non-argument. But anyway, yeah, what she's doing now, how she's there are times where I think to her detriment, her teammates watch her, and her being Caitlin Clark, and we'll almost go, and whatever the pulse of Caitlin is, that's where the team will go, and that can be both good and bad, and particularly in losses, it's been bad. So that's where I am. That's where I am. I give the edge again right now to Angel Reese. That's where I am at this moment. Subject to change, right? This is a fluid conversation. This is a fluid standings, but we're gonna go right now. Number one in everyone's heart, Cameron Brink. Shout out to the shout out to the Los Angeles Sparks. Cameron Brink, but anyway, kidding aside, yeah, right now I'm going one Angel Reese, two Caitlin Clark, and then three Rickea Jackson. Speaking of the Los Angeles Sparks, she is continuing to play well. So credit to her there. All right, we are out of here, my friends. Until next time, Joe, we will see you later in the comment section. See ya for now. Adios.